Shout out to
Yeah,
everybody on a Friday. What up, Coop, man? How was your week, bro?
it was a pretty good week, man. It was very restful. It was very peaceful. My regular work grind starts back tomorrow, so
All right, cool, man. Well, yeah, we're gonna welcome everybody into the room, and yeah, man, we're gonna be talking about that new Benny the Butcher that dropped featuring Lil Wayne, featuring Big Sean as well. It's called Timeless. Off top, man, what did you think about the record? While
I
everybody's coming
didn't.
in the room, and what did y'all think about the record?
I didn't like the record at all.
Mm.
There's a lot of reasons why. You want me to like start with reason like number one?
Yeah. Start with reason number one why you didn't like the Benny the Butcher record, Timeless, featuring Lil Wayne and Big Sean.
Say that again. Featuring who?
Lil Wayne and Big Sean.
That's problem number one. Okay, so that's
Mm.
problem number one that I had with
Right.
it. because okay, so let's start. Let's level out his expectations. His buzz. The most okay in the time that I've been following hip hop, biggest buzzes I ever saw were Snoop's buzz and Nas's buzz.
50 Cent.
But after that, I would go somewhere Method Man. After Into the Wu Tang,
Right.
uh, Kendrick leading into Good Kid, Mad City, and Jada Kiss leading into Kiss of the Game Goodbye.
That's a big one too. That was a big buzz
I
for
don't
Jada.
think people understand that people, and rightfully so, lyrically speaking, were looking at Jada in the vein that they were looking at the guy behind me and Nas and Jay, and also kind of like an heir to replace them. And so his buzz isn't, I don't think, of the Nas and Snoop caliber, but I would put it somewhere between where Jada Kiss was and where Method Man's buzz was. I think Method Man's buzz was stronger than Kiss's. Um, and
Okay.
with that being said, neither one of those necessarily lived up to expectations. I think Kiss on the first project more so than Meth. But they released banging ass first singles, Mike. I mean, Bring the Pain is a hip hop classic, and
And so
and
is All
Bring
I
the
Need.
Pain. Bring the Pain is right there with Brooklyn Zoo to me is like best solo Wu Tang record ever made.
It's up there.
And no, I mean it's right there with Brooklyn Zoo to me. I still think it's Brooklyn Zoo, but only by a hair. Just because you don't get dirty rhyming enough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Brooklyn
It
Zoo is
makes the record
perfect.
more special because Dirty doesn't rhyme. I mean, I would like to say rhyme like that, but he doesn't have a style. So,
Right.
but it's him rhyming on beat consistently. So, and even when Jada Kiss released "Put Your Hands Up," I mean, I don't think that's a hip hop classic, but "Put Your Hands Up" is a dope record,
It was
right?
a
Didn't
dope
you like
record.
"Put
I
Your
liked
Hands
it.
Up"?
I liked it.
I
I
like "Put Your
anticipated
Hands
the
Up" too,
album after
and
that.
and I thought it was a perfect lead off for who Jada was and what he did. The same way like Takal was like, "Bring the Pain" was perfect for like what Takal was going to sound like,
Right.
and just who Meth was like as a solo artist. He was a lot more dense and dark than I think people realize. And so when I hear this, it's like, okay, like this isn't the guy that I've been hearing that I loved, and
Right.
these aren't the guys that I wanted to hear him with first go round. I mean, my first thought was it was like, man, like, where's Conway and Westside? That was my first
Well,
thought.
you know what? I think, and what you're alluding to, and, people in the room are pretty much saying they ain't really like the record either. Jay says Benny doesn't need a commercial song. Benny has a lane
Right.
that's so
So
good
I
for
want to
him,
get to
and I
that.
want to hear
Right.
Benny on dark
Right.
beats on the plugs I'm at. And I think that goes for what we're saying that
We're gonna
Benny's
talk about
off
all that, Jay. Is
message,
that
man.
Jay from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
what
that's
up,
Jay from last week.
Jay? Yeah, no. Fam be on point, like with his thoughts. Like, I share a lot of those same sentiments, Jay. I don't know. It doesn't even necessarily have to be dark. Like on Plugs I Met, the Al Green sample track that
Hmm.
him and Thought are rhyming over. I don't consider that to be dark. That's what I call like on some rap shit. And
Right.
so it doesn't even got to be dark or hustler ish all the time. He's the caliber of MC, much like Conway.
Right.
He can just be on some rap shit. And so let me segue right quick to what Conway just did from A King to God. He released Lemon with Method Man.
Right.
And that's appropriate for his audience. I'm part of that audience. um, it's appropriate for the tone of the album. It's the appropriate guest feature. And I was just listening. I was just coming from Decatur, Mike. Like I was listening to Lemon, like in traffic, like on the way here. And then I'm listening to Conway. I'm listening to Lemon Squeeze, Lemon. It's perfect for who he is and what he
Right.
does. And Benny's kind of championed himself, the Hustlers champ. So to Jay's point, he don't need to make no singles. Like, I was kind of mad
Right.
at Kiss when Kiss made "Knock Yourself Out," the second single. I was like, no.
That
You
was a
don't gotta
different
do that.
time though, where you needed radio.
No,
You know what I mean?
no. And I got it. And I kind of like "Knock Yourself Out," but I kind of feel the way Jay feels about Benny is how I felt about Kiss when "Knock Yourself Out" came out, which was like dope record, but you don't got to do that. Not you. Not for as dope as you are just as an MC. Like, he could have just straight up released "We Gonna Make It" with Styles. And,
Exactly. We Gonna Make It really, if we keep it real, was more successful of a single, longevity wise, street wise, and buzz wise than Knock
it's a better
Yourself ever
song.
could
It's a
be.
classic hip hop record. Jada's a classic hip hop bars artist, so he was going to be better served releasing "Put Your Hands Up," and then releasing "We Gonna Make It" with Styles, and then releasing "Show Discipline" with Nas. And I think he never really came back from that totally, because the reverence was different after that album. You know what I'm saying, Mike? Because when you're a New York MC and you're great and they're touting you, and that first project isn't epic, you have to think about all the guys that came before you whose first projects aren't just classics, they're epic. Like, their first major players are epic. And so when you don't deliver, you get the treatment that Jadakiss has gotten, and Method Man to agree. It's like, you're a star, you're respected, but to bring up the guy that is behind me again, Method Man, no, listen. Method Man is rhyming right next to this guy bar for bar on the what? Toe for toe. Like, Biggie's not stunting on Method Man on the what, but nobody really looks at Meth on the level that they look at Big. But as an MC, if you really just start going down the line, you should.
I got a lot to say about that. I want to get to some of the comments real quick. Michael Hubbard.
What's that a lot?
Michael Hubbard said, "I thought Benny had the worst verse." We'll talk
Hey,
about
that's
that.
Hub. That's Hub from West Charlotte. What up, Hub?
And we got Travis Jenkins here. He said, Gunn said before, don't put nobody in the box in Griselda. They have a sound, but Benny used to rap over trap beats. Tito says he agrees with everything you say.
That's where he found his lane. Oh, I want to respond to all that too.
And Tom says, you bugging. It's a different aesthetic. Even Conway had Enza. And
Enza sounds dope, though.
Yeah, Enza's dope.
Enza.
Quan Newark said he liked the record. And Travis also said people forget that Conway was signed to Free Band's Futures label years ago.
That's because they used to be down here. But that's not where they popped. Once again, like, we're not talking about what they did before they were great. We're talking about what they're doing while they're great right now.
Robert Stewart said.
Disagree.
Robert Stewart says, as I listened to Timeless, I received a notification for the live. I knew you guys would be talking about this. You guys are always on point. Shout out to you, Stewart. And yeah, so what do you have to say on that?
So can we start with Hub right quick?
Yeah. Let's start with Hub.
First of all, me and Hub used to rap together. He's one of the first dudes I used to rap with. Hub is right, and so let me explain why he's right.
He's right in saying Benny has the worst verse on the record.
But let me explain why. Because that beat is more suited for Sean and for Wayne, and that's why I don't like them on that record. That beat from Hit Boy sounds like it's better for Wayne and better for Sean. And when they rap on that style of beat, next to Benny's gruffness and his grisly posture, like vocally on a beat, they sound better on that beat.
I don't like Hit Boy on the beat either, but we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, we're getting in the whole. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
So I agree with Hub in that degree, because it's like Benny. It doesn't necessarily sound like Benny's track. It sounds like something that should be on Hit Boy's compilation, or it sounds like maybe something that should have been on Sean's album.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so that's what I mean, is like, what is this album going to sound like? Because it's like, for whatever you thought of Tikal, at least like Tikal sounded like Bring the Pain, just not as good as Bring the Pain. You know?
Yeah, Bring the Pain by far was the best song on Tikal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, by far.
Absolutely. It's one of the best rap songs ever, though. And so I'm not saying you got to make one of the best rap songs ever. I was expecting Lemon. Like Conway represents, he doesn't necessarily represent the hustlers. He represents the grimy and the have-nots, and Lemon's a reflection of that. Like, Benny's representing the hustlers. I wanted some hustler shit. So it's like I wanted his fam on there, or I wanted like Pusha T on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've listened to the record 4 times. I still didn't enjoy it because it's making me trepid about the album. Because, like I said, guys have gotten this buzz before. The expectation isn't just classic; it's all-time classic. And if this song is gonna be on the album, well, I mean, all-time classic is already out the window, correct? Like nobody on here is going to tell me that they think that this is a classic record. Like, let's say, Can't Knock the Hustle, It Ain't Hard to Tell,
right,
Juicy, Even Put Your Hands Up, Bring the Pain.
Well, I mean, the difference between
Glaciers of Ice.
The difference between those records outside
500. Like I can go down the line of great East Coast MCs like that have released great first singles on their first solo.
Well, many of those records that you named were records that those artists were on by themselves. I think Benny would have been better served in the situation to do a record by himself. I don't think this was a strong enough record to actually push out there like, yeah, this is it. This is going to get people ready for the album, because I think that we've kind of come to the conclusion that Benny's dropping his album next Friday, right? I mean, it hasn't been official. We don't know anything, but we are kind of speculating that he's dropping his album next Friday, right?
It's looking pretty official.
Okay. And if that's the case, and this is what we have to look forward to, and this is what's on the album, this is the lead off of the album, it tells me 2 things. That, like you said, either this doesn't really have much of a cohesiveness right now, either that, or this is by far the worst song on a really good album, if that makes any sense. Because I think when you first heard it, we both first heard it, you were like, this already takes it out of the album of the year.
Mike, hold on. And I mean that because the albums that have been considered the best 4 albums this year, which is Pray for Paris, From a King to a God, King's Disease, Alfredo, Pray for Paris, right? I think I said one of them over again. But those 4 albums, Mike, is there any track on any of those 4 albums that's as weak as that song?
It's not. And and
it's already out on album of the year consideration if no other track on those 4 albums is as weak as any of those tracks. He's on some of those tracks and made some of those tracks great. Like, Mike, I got a 2020 playlist, Mike, and Benny is all over there. He doesn't even have an album.
Benny, personally, Benny's my favorite in the crew. But I can't. I was
about to tell you, Mike, this is why Conway's my favorite, because Conway sticks to his guns and he doubles down on his guns, like proverbially, metaphorically, and lyrically.
I was very impressed by how Conway had the core of Griselda in production in his album, and he had the Hit Boys of the world, and he had Murder Beats, and nothing sounded out of place. This already sounds out of place.
It was wonderfully put together, Mike. I mean, if not for Pray for Paris, it's album of the year. And it's not, like I said, Mike, it's not far off Pray for Paris. It's not staying with, like, I'm still listening to songs off Pray for Paris today, Mike.
And I don't like the title Timeless either, because it's far from timeless. And I'm just being honest.
I don't mind the name. I just for the run that they're on, Mike, and I mean, you have to, okay, so I'm going to look at it from the way that the expectations that I'm giving them. I told you, Mike, this is the best crew to come out of New York except for Wu-Tang.
Dang, that's high praise, my G.
I'm saying as a collective. I'm not saying like individual artist for artist, but I'm saying I don't remember a crew.
They better than Dipset?
I mean, how about this, Mike? Does Dipset have anything in their catalog that's better for Pray for Paris or From a King to a God?
I mean, I would be
all
hard.
All right, next. Like, all right.
That's, and
I love Dipset.
All right, and we got G-Unit, right? G-Unit's pretty much get rich or die trying. That's G-Unit's get rich or die trying for the most part.
Yeah, I just named 2, though. Yeah. Like, that was this year, too. Like, we can get into other stuff they've done. It's been borderline great to classic already.
Before we veer off, and I want to go back to people's
albums.
Before we veer off, and I do want to go back to people's comments, I do want to say something about what you were saying with Method Man and Big. I know I was going through some of the quotables back in the day in the 90s for the Source magazine and just looking at the hip-hop quotables and all that. Method Man had more quotables in the Source magazine than anybody. I mean, he had more than
I
Nas.
would say
He had more than Big. I saw a lot of Method Man quotables in
no. I'm
there.
gonna tell you what Nas and Redman dominated the hip hop quotable section of the Source. They dominated it, Mike.
Now, Redman had his first 3 albums. I mean, he delivered. I don't think that, and I say this respectfully because Method Man was my favorite rapper growing up, and I think Method Man is dope as hell. But I don't think that I don't think he ever dropped an album that lived up to a solo album that lived up to his buzz and his momentum in the way that Snoop dropped Doggy Style. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, but that's only because he can rhyme next to guys like the guy behind me with no problem. Like it's not even a question of if he can. It's like when I heard, like, if Conway's the best MC in the game right now, and I see that Method Man is featured on a track with Conway, I'm not worried about how Meth is going to sound next to him at all as an MC or if he's going to get shown up, because Meth has stood and can stand next to the greatest MCs of all time and show, like, for whatever reason.
So did Method Man outdo Biggie on the what? Did Method Man outdo Biggie on the what? Who did the better performance on the what?
Method Man has the better first verse. Biggie has the better second verse with the hiccups. Excuse me, flows just roll through. Like, Biggie got him on that, but Meth has the better first verse. That's what I'm saying. It's bar for bar. It's a tie. So, Meth has the better first verse, and Big has the better second verse.
I like Method Man's performance on the what better than Big. I'm gonna be honest. I think Method Man.
Second verse. How about this? That second verse from Big was what was to come of his style and his delivery, which right there with Method Man is the best delivery ever, in my opinion. And it came out on that second verse, and that's why I'm giving him that second verse. Like cliffs to branches, trees to avalanches, it's the praying mantis, deep like the mind of Farrakhan, a motherfucking rap phenomenon.
I got more Glocks and text to you. I make it hot.
Shit yesterday. Nigga, next to you, they did the little back and forth at the end. It was epic, Mike.
Yeah, man.
That's one of the best rap. That's one of the best rap duo songs ever. And Meth is on a lot of the best rap songs ever. He's on a lot of the best rap duo songs ever. He's on a lot of the best verses ever. Like, Meth is.
I think that song's better than Brooklyn's Finest, actually.
Yes. The beat is better.
And I think that Jay out-rapped Big on Brooklyn's Finest. Is that fair to say? No? I think Jay out-rapped Big on Brooklyn's Finest.
No.
I sound like I'm shitting on Big right now. No. I got everybody ahead of him.
No. Big said, fuck fist fights and what?
And lame scuffles.
Yeah.
Shoot your daughter in the calf muscle. Fuck a tussle. Nickel plated.
Nickel plated. Sprinkle coke on the floor. Make it drug related. Most hated. No.
Well, y'all front silly. Y'all run up and since such a little man's come and get. No, what was the Jay verse where he was like?
You want to know what? Jay's last verse. Time to separate the pros from the cons.
The platinum from the bronze. Yeah.
The butter soft shit from that leather on the fawns. That was the shit.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I might go with Jay on that, man.
That's the bar for bar thing, too. But Big's thing was never necessarily lyrically. You can argue. Like, I'll tell you that lyrically, Jay-Z and Method Man are better than Biggie, but neither one of them are better songwriters.
No.
Delivery-wise, Meth is right there. Delivery and voice-wise with Big, and he's a better lyricist. He's just not the song maker.
I have told you this before. I think, Big only had 2 albums. I think if Big would have lived and had a real catalog like anybody else, I think he would have been the greatest rapper ever. I think he was the most rounded MC when you talk about the voice, the flow, his ability to sound great on everything, his storytelling ability, hit-making ability. Like, I've never heard somebody that sounded so comfortable on anything. Like, he sounded comfortable on More Money, More Problems, sounded comfortable on Fucking You Tonight with R. Kelly. He sounds comfortable on What's Beef. He sounds comfortable on The Warning. Like, this dude just sounded great on everything. And he made Puffy's job easy. I mean, who could have done Juicy in 94?
No, I don't want to slide off too far like into it, but I'm going to tell you something that I thought about the other day, and I've said this to you. Like, if we're just going year by year, the three best years ever for MC, if we're just talking bar for bar, it's probably Rakim in '88, Nas in '96, and Big in '97.
I
And
say
I
Pac
think,
in '96. R.I.P.
huh?
But I say Pac in '96 too. That was a monster year. That year
No,
really kind
I
of
mean,
makes up
I'm
most of his
strictly talking
career.
about the craft of MC, and I'm not talking
Okay.
about the totality.
Okay, I got you.
You know how I feel. Like that picture is hanging up there, and there's a personal story and reason for it. But everybody knows Pac is my guy. I mean, I love that guy too.
Mm-hmm.
I love them all. I love this shit. But Big in '97 did something that no great MC had ever done, Mike. And you really and we need to start thinking about Mike. And I mean this because I listened to it this week, like all the way through for the first time in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start asking ourselves where Life After Death ranks in the greatest rap albums of all time, legitimately. Because when you talk about when you talk about what you talk about, like the comfortability, it's not just that he was comfortable, Mike. It's that there's no hip hop album in history that has as many street classics and actual verified hit records than
No,
Life
you're
After
right.
Death. No album has it, Mike. Like, no, because I mean, we got Hypnotized, Sky's the Limit, Notorious Thugs, More Money, More Problems, Fucking You Tonight. Those are all hits. That's 5. Mike, we got Kick in the Door, 10 Crack Commandments, Long Kiss Goodnight, You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, My
Mm-hmm.
Downfall, The World is Filled, Niggas Bleed, I Got a Story to Tell, I Love the Dough, Last Days, Mike, ain't nobody ever did that,
I
Mike.
think the balance of hit records and street records that became that formula. I think Jay. That's the
real
formula that
blueprint.
everybody ran with after
the
that.
blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
They should have called that the blueprint,
Yeah.
Mike.
And all respect to Jay. I think Jay took that formula and made a career out of it. Because before that, his albums weren't like that. That wasn't his approach.
Mike, how could he not? He was literally right there,
Yeah.
watching it get made.
He was.
He watched Life After Death get made. It's not like he wasn't around Big. They were around each other.
Yeah. And see, and again, Big gets points because not everybody could do that. And I mean, back to the Benny song, Benny knows what his buzz is like. And I think if Big would have tried to pull off something like this, and not comparing Benny to Big or anything, but it would have actually made sense and sounded on message.
So
I think if Conway would have done it, let's be real.
So you're talking about Biggie as compared to Benny, and that's not fair to Benny.
No. I'm just talking about great MCs being able to stay on message, no matter who they're collaborating with.
So that brings me into the question. He's on this Roc Nation deal. Who's putting this album together? Is Roc Nation putting this album together, like in conjunction with Griselda? Is this like? I mean,
I never know what their deal situation is like.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Whose hands is in what cookie jar? Because one thing that I love about Griselda projects is that it sounds like they make their projects like
this
literally
sounds
down
industry.
to the song.
This sounds industry as hell.
This sounds very industry. Okay, you want to know what, Mike? I'm going to meet people in the middle. It's not that it's a bad record. It's that it's an industry record. I didn't want to hear an industry record from him. I just wanted to hear a great rap record.
Yeah.
Because he's how about this? He's not like Big in the sense of the versatility, but he is more like Jadakiss and Nas in the sense that it's like, oh, I just want to hear that dude make a great rap song. And that's great. And that'll go. Like Nas and Jadakiss both missed the mark for portions of their careers, like playing the industry game, when they should have let that shit fly.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I was gonna say this before we get off the Method Man thing. You think Method Man has the best verse on Tupac's Mind Made Up? Or is it Corrupt? Or is it
While you fake jacks, I make maneuvers like sticking up, which Mr. Met the Cow from Staten Island. We'll be back right after this message. Don't touch the dial.
Rarely do you see an MC
out for justice. Got my gunpowder and my mustard. Blow. Yes.
Felons get swellings. I paint mental pictures like Magellans. Half
of my clans repeat felons, which was a fact, Mike.
That's my favorite verse on there. Yeah, that's my favorite verse on there. So he has the best verse on on All Eyes on Me's record and the best verse on Ready to Die's record. I mean, we got to give Method Man